Alright, this is the United States Marine Corps Special Reaction Team Dynamic OQT. Today is 7th of June, time being 11:38 GMT plus 3. So, we're going to start off with some general principles of CQB and dynamic that we have. So, first up, momentum is a priority. Right, by default, we try to take control of space aggressively and use violence of action, as you all have heard. Speed, surprise, violence of action, and so on. However, that doesn't mean we're going to keep on going and try to carry the flow on for as long as possible. If we need to stop and assess the situation, we'll do that. We're not going to get carried away by momentum. We're not going to bite more than we can chew. We'll always slow down when we need to and assess the situation. So while we do try to keep the momentum going and we try to use violence of action to our advantage, sometimes that won't be applicable and we'll have to slow down. So do keep that in mind. That is totally okay. That being said, distance-based clearing is valid, not the main method, however. We only use that when we absolutely have to. Otherwise, what we'll do is try to close the distance between us and the threat and use proximity, basically. So all in all, speed never overrides safety. Do not rush your death. Cool. And overall, just remember to keep your through movement, while in movement, make sure that you keep your weapon system oriented to your sector of fire without flagging your teammate, and always practice muscle discipline. And in dynamic, there is always going to be constant changes in the environment, so maintain momentum until layout forces a different approach or a slower approach, and always communicate when changing pace, lane, direction, or focus, and so on. So, starting off with some more intimate details of dynamic CQB. Number one is proximity. So, in dynamic, if you've heard of distance and angles, which is basically taking a couple steps away from the problem, in dynamic we do the opposite of that. We close the distance to the problem and work the closest threat first, and the priority threats come in as well, which we'll talk about that in a second. But no matter who has the angle, no matter who has the better angle, whoever is closest takes the problem. Vinny, if you would be so kind to stand over there, please, and get your gun online inside this room. So, as you can see, even if you could take a couple steps back, even further, and even use lean to your advantage. So, right now, as you can see, here, let me even get his head cam back on. Now, as you can see, Vinny has more information inside the room. He sees a lot more than I do. Right, he has a better angle. However, I'm the one who's closest to this problem. So, like we just said, whoever is closest always takes a problem. Doesn't matter if Vinny has more information and he's gonna be able to use that to his advantage. But whoever is closest will be taking the problem in order to ensure that momentum will be maintained. So, by default, as I approach this threshold, I will expect Vinny to check up and let me take this, and I will do such. Cool, easy. Beauty. So let's step back out. Just remember, whoever is closest always takes the problem, no matter who has the angle. There can be exceptions to this, however, through the shot call, but we'll come back to that in a second. We also have one gun per threat. We don't need to risk more people than necessary, or rather waste more bodies than necessary for problems that can be worked or held by a single person. Examples being closed doors that can be held by only one person, and rear security can also be held by one person. There is no need to waste bodies on simple problems like that. So minimum, we always want to have two guns to work most problems. You'll never work alone. You'll always have a battle buddy with you to work every problem, with the only exception being room entry. So when making entry into rooms, you want to have 3 minimum and 4 ideally. The more the merrier, right? Never make entry to a room by yourself. It goes without saying. Always have somebody with you, but ideally 4, minimum 3. Make sense? Cool. And then we have rear security. So in dynamic, we constantly collapse angles. We constantly collapse security. We never hold containment unless we can and we have the option to. So one of the Marines in the stack always holds rear security unless there is no physical possibility of an enemy attacking the stack from behind. Now, Vinny, can you give me any examples of when an enemy could not attack the stack from behind? Even in the context of ready or not.
A sequence of rooms that ends on our current position, meaning, for example, a bedroom.
Yep, exactly. Another one could be if we wedge a door behind us, which is more metagaming, but AI in this game cannot open wedge doors, so if we wedge a door behind us, we can, and there are no further threats that way, we can disregard your security altogether, and like you said, if we just came out of a room which terminates and there is no further threats that way, we don't need to worry about that specific angle. Say if we work the side room over here and it's terminated, we don't need to worry about that anymore. We don't need to worry about that being any bad guys coming from that direction. Good, beautiful. So keep in mind that rear security will follow the flow of the working team and constantly collapse behind them, ensuring they do not overextend from each other. And also, do keep in mind that rear security must be swapped out frequently so everybody plays the game. This is a game, everybody's here to have fun. Ensure that roles are being swapped out. And they will be naturally, but in case we work in a sequence of rooms and so on, make sure that everybody gets to play the game, and so that the person holding rear security doesn't get bored and start scrolling on their phone and get complacent. Cool. Another thing is always constantly looking for work, no matter what, right? Even if you feel like everything has been worked, there's definitely work to be found. So always constantly look for work, whether that's either in assisting teammates, covering angles, holding security. We can never stop moving. Dynamic situational awareness is crucial. You get that with reps and with time. So keep that in mind. Now, the shot call, right? You're familiar with it, but we're gonna go over that real quick. Vinny, good to have you back as you were before with your gun online inside this room. Beautiful. So, like we said before, who has a better angle? Vinny does. However, I am closer. Therefore, I'm gonna be the one taking point over here for this room. Now, say what if Vinny sees a bad guy? I'm not just gonna walk into his line of fire and then get shot in the back of the head. Not cool. So Vinny has the ability to tell me that there is a bad guy over there. I want everybody to stop. That way I can engage safely, which is the shot call. So when we hear a shot, everybody stops moving and stands by for a continue or a go or a move, something that will tell us that you can cross, you can go on, or you can continue. Shot basically means stop, everybody stop moving, I'm engaging, and so on. Very simple. So how's it going to look like, Vinny? If you could unmute, I'm going to have you demonstrate. So as I am approaching this threshold, say I decide to make entry, and I come up here, Vinny sees a bad guy.
Shot.
There you go. He's going to engage, call shot, take all the shots necessary. It has to be 1, has to be 3, has to be a full mag. Doesn't matter. He will only tell me that I'm good to go once it's safe for me to actually continue making entry. He will check his gun up and also call go. That way, if I am not able to see him, like I'm not able to see him now, he will call go, letting me know, hey, I'm good to continue moving. Make sense? Beautiful.
Yes, sir.
Simple stuff, right? All right. Thank you, Vinny. Now, do keep in mind, we'll come back to that later on, but the person who called shot also has the ability to request point to become the point man, even though he's farther away. Now, since we already stopped, and he has more information as he shot a guy, he just shot a bad guy, and we have already stopped in our tracks, that gives him the ability to request to become point. This is usually going to be the case, unless he's too far away. If it's going to take him more than 1 second to get to the door, he's probably just going to let the continue point man proceed, carry on. Simple stuff, right? Cool. Alright, so Vinny or Sean, whoever is willing, who can name the priority of threats for me? Alright, I'll choose them. Go ahead, Vinny.
Alright, I will. We have armed gunmen, then we have unknowns, then we have undisclosed space, and at last we have security individuals.
Cool. In a bit more detail, close enough, right? But in a bit more detail, right? Armed context is correct. So are unknowns, also known as unarmed context. From just on clear space, we also have categories for that. We have open thresholds, any kind of open threshold. So open doors, dead space, windows, any kind of threshold that would be exposed to, and the enemy can see us through that. And then we have closed doors. And then we have yellow space, which is basically previously cleared space. We'll talk about that in 1 minute. And then SSC. So what is yellow space? What is previously cleared space? Like we mentioned earlier on rear security, it constantly collapses. We don't hold containment unless we have the manpower to do so. But by default, we will constantly collapse our angles and not hold security. So say we just clear this room. All right, this room is all clear. And our team is continuing all that way towards the shoot house. So you guys can just stay over there. I'm going to be holding rear security for them. So my team will collapse and consolidate eventually until we get to this point. Now I have lost line of sight to that room. Now any bad guy can just walk in there and now leave a surprise for me and my friends when we just cross, right? Just want to head out. So I'm going to ask one of you boys to help me out here, if you could. Or Sean, whoever, don't matter. So as we are, get behind me please. So as we're approaching this threshold, right? We're approaching this yellow space. We know we have cleared this before. And now we just want to go past it. So what are we going to do about that? How are we going to react to this yellow space? Some people might say just need to re-clear it. Some people just say go past, or just have people, roll past it or pan past it. So the point man, first person who approaches the yellow space will plug the threshold. So I will come up here. I will just take this. I will plug this. The rest of my team will go past me. And the last person who crosses me will give me a squeeze called last man if able to. And then I will also collapse with them while maintaining rear security. Simple. There you go. So, of course, it would be a little bit faster. I want to be yapping over it, but it's that's the concept. So, in real time, thank you, Sean.
Got your back.
I will collapse with them. I'll hold and security. Simple. Right, so that's how we react to a yellow space. This can happen in a hallway with a million doors, right? People just plug left, right, and vice versa. Last man is constantly called to ensure that nobody's holding for too long or gets left behind. Simple. Questions? Beauty. Okay, let's talk about the priority of work, what to do, what to look for when you're looking for work. Number 1, shoot bad guys. People with guns, shoot them. Number 2, protect teammates. That means protect, assist, and adapt to your teammates. Basically, plate them. 1 second. Alright, sorry about that. So protect, assist, adapt to teammates, plate them. Basically, make sure that whatever your teammates do, they're not exposed to any angles while they're doing that. Number 3, cover angles or pick up possible threat points. Number 4, look for work. That means basically just work problems with teammates. And number 5, if you're doing nothing at all, swap bridge security every now and then. Make sure that we're not having the same guys hold bridge security forever. Cool, simple stuff. Let's talk about body language and nonverbals within MSRT. So, what everybody's doing right now, which is checking up or down, high or low ready, indicates that you have no work. To show that you're looking at nothing, have no threats, or just no work, right? And it's also used to obviously practice muscle discipline and not flag your teammates. Not nice. Nobody will appreciate that. So whenever you have no work, whenever you're looking at nothing of interest, you will be checked up or checked down, high or low ready. Simple. All right, let me get one body real quick, and then we have the muzzle nod. So the muzzle nod indicates I'm ready to work the next step on the current problem. Looks just like that. Go ahead, Vinny. That will be a muzzle nod. Just one fast, exaggerated movement. Fast. So, once I get that, in the situation we're stacked up on the cold store, this can be used in multiple scenarios or situations, but for this case, once I get the muzzle nod, one more time, Vinny, it will tell me that we're ready to start working the next step on the problem, which is, for in this instance, to swing this door. We'll just go ahead and make entry. Cool. Not necessary. Alright, cool. Thank you. Thank you. Beautiful. Very simple. So, muzzle nod can be used in multiple scenarios, like I'm going to corner boy, and so on and forth. We'll come back to those later on, but just ready to work the next step on the current problem. Cool. And then we have the muzzle punch or bump. This indicates that you are requesting priority to cross a fellow Marine's muzzle. So we're in this instance, right? We have swung this door and we have begun working it. Now, remember when we talked about the shot call, the person who calls shot also has the option to request priority. So I call shot, bang, bang, bang. I engage my threat. Don't check up just yet, Vinny. Don't check up just yet. Keep your gun on your cell deployment. So from here, I'm the second man, right? By default, I would have to put my gun down, let my deployment take this room. However, if I believe that now I have more information, I just engage the bad guy and I might see more movement that way, I can also do this, telling my deployment, hey, let me take priority. Once he checks up, I can easily just go ahead, do my center check, center step, however you want to call it, cross his muzzle, and make entry. Simple stuff. Questions? Beauty. And then we have the one with me. The muzzle raise, also known as the flip, right? Which we'll come back to that later on, but it will look something like this. Simple stuff. All right, cool. Let's step back out to the hallway. Thank you.
Police, stay where you
Go
are.
ahead, go ahead. Back onto the hallway. I got it. I got the doors.
Police, I want to see those hands.
Excuse me. All right, so far so good. Any questions? All right, beauty. Let's talk about the actual set of door. So how about we start working these closed doors? So by default, we use the split stack method, or double stack, however you want to call it. Whenever we come up with doors, however, from one side, we'll use the single stack. There are exceptions to both. We'll talk about the single stack later on. For now, we'll focus on the split stack. Vinny, let me have you as my appointment on the strong side of the door, please. Reading a door in Ready or Not is super simple. Their doors in Ready or Not are not realistic. They're both push and pull. When we're working this door, we want to go in. This will be a push door. It will swing inwards towards the room that we are working, right? So simple stuff. However, if a bad guy decides to come out, the door will swing outwards, away from the room we're working, this way. So they're not realistic. So what that means, good news for us, is that we never have to worry about reading a door. We never have to worry about where the hinge or the handle side is, at least not for too long. The hinge side will always be the strong side in Ready or Not, and the handle side will be the weak side. If this is the way, because we're always thinking of working towards the room, not away from it. So every time we work doors, the door will be swung inwards towards the room we're working with. I see a door. Vinny already has information inside the room. That makes him point man. Whoever sees first into the room becomes the point man. And in this case, it will always be the person on the strong side of the door. Simple stuff. Cool. So the first person approaching the threshold will come up on the weak side of the door, also known as the handle side or knob side, however you want to call it, where he will also hold security until we begin working this door. Again, if somebody decides to come out, he will come out this way. Now I see whoever just decided to open this door, Vinny sees a door. He's not helping much, he's not really holding anything. So, and then the second person approaching this threshold will be the point man, who arrives and sits on the 45-degree angle of the strong side of the door. So until we begin working this door, the point man has the option to check his mag, look around, see where his team is at, without flagging them, of course, and just without the fear of anything. The reason for that is, again, if this door decides to open, I got security. He doesn't have to worry about it. Cool. All right. So simple stuff, right? Now, let's talk about working this door. Let's take this nice and slow, step by step. So, the appointment, whenever he's ready, he will give the second man a muzzle nod. That indicates that he's ready to begin working this problem. So, whenever you're ready, Vinny. Once I get the muzzle nod, that tells me, all right, we're good to go ahead. We're set. I'm going to go ahead, swing this door, take a couple steps back, give it 1 second, let the room breathe for just 1 second, or do what's called a pregnant pause. That just gives us some time to react to any contacts, specifically for me, the second man, in this case, to call shot if needed. And just prevent, flowing with the door or chasing the door, however you want to call it. Just give us a second to let the room breathe and see if we're going to get shot or if there's any bad guys that we can engage from the room, any threats that we can mitigate. Cool. Once this second has passed, it's just a split second. Second man will put his gun down. If I see nothing, that's telling my point man that we're good to begin making entry. Go ahead and keep going. The point man will do a center step, and then we'll practice cross entry. We'll just both go across. There you go, like so. Each will both go the way that we're looking at. The point man will always do a center step when working doors, due to the fact that we have no information on what's going on in the center of the room. We haven't panned across, we haven't slashed the pile, we haven't done anything that will tell us, give us any information on the center of the room, apart from the center step. Cool. If you boys could step out real quick, let's run that in real time. Easy. Cool. Beautiful. Alright, let's swap roles. Vinny, if you could be my second man. Go ahead, fellas. Step out. Alright, so let's talk about the point man. Alright, also do keep in mind, if you see where Shon is stacked up, he's stacked up hugging the wall, not behind me. Reason for that is once his door swings open, if I start taking fire, these bullets are going to go through me onto him. But where he's standing right now, he is absolutely safe without any risk or exposure to this room that we are working. So, he is in the best possible spot right now. Cool. So, whenever I'm ready, I can do my checks. I can do whatever the hell I want. But whenever I'm ready, I'm going to give my second man the muzzle nod. He's going to swing the door for me. Right? I'm going to wait for him to check up or check down. If he doesn't, that's him telling me, I'm looking at something, give me a second. Right? Again, if he takes too long, I can also give him the love tap, a muzzle bump, letting him know, hey, wake up, I want to make entry. But he's already checked up. That's unnecessary. So, once he puts his gun up or down, I can begin doing my entry procedures. First up will be a center step or a center check, and then looking into my hard corner. The one that I'm looking into, cross entry. There you go. Cool. Now let's run that again in real time. Cool. Questions, comments, concerns? All right, beautiful. Now, do keep in mind that we'll always make entry to a room when it's safe to do so. If we start taking fire, let's step outside. If we start taking fire, if anything's going on, we hear audibles, we hear a bunch of people yelling in Arabic, we're obviously not going to make entry, right? We're going to let it breathe, and we're going to slow down if we have to. Just because we want to keep the momentum going doesn't mean we'll also kill ourselves while we're at it. Questions? Beauty. And also do keep in mind that using utilities like distraction devices, flashbang, and so on, highly encouraged, highly recommended. So always keep that in mind. That will be the point man's call to make. Okay, so far, any questions? Nothing? Beautiful. Now let's talk about actions in the room. What happens when we're inside? So very simple room terminology before we move on. 2 seconds, Vinny, excuse me. Hard corner, number 1. Hard corner 2. This is the working wall. The working wall is where you will find the working wall where the door just came from. Okay, so this door, you see where Vinny and Shon just made entry on, that is their working wall. Cool. They have their hard corners, which they both just cleared. And then we have across from the working wall, we have the known wall and the easy corners. The easy corners will be found on the known wall. Simple stuff, nothing crazy. So, and then we have the next wall as well, which is going to be used for the point man when he practices points of domination, which we'll talk about in a second. If either one of you could get a stream up for Vic, that would be highly appreciated. Thank you. If not, that's fine. So, appreciate it, Vinny. So, next wall will be used by the point man to create points of domination and an L shape inside the room. Let's step outside, talk about that real quick. Alright, so we're going to begin working this door, step by step. So, center step, clear my hard corner, and then I will leave the working wall as a point man to create points of domination, create an L shape inside the room. Now, Vinny, could you keep your gun online for a second? And just point, there you go. Now, as you can see, Vinny is looking over a little bit to my left, and I'm looking over a bit to his right. So after we clear our hard corners, we began doing our secondary assessment, scanning the room, making sure that we haven't missed any threats or any problems. Now, the points of domination, are also known as creating an L shape inside the room, used to just pretty much suffocate the enemy. All right, make sure that they have no breathing room and no chance, and also no idea who to engage first. Right, we just all spread out nicely. We have really good lines of fire, and we can safely engage any contacts without giving them the chance to take out more than one of us, or any of us for that matter. Cool. So an L shape or points of domination will always be practiced while making entry into rooms, unless prohibited by other factors. Or we might have to use the meta penetration, for example. So what that means basically, if there's a wall right here that will prevent the point man from creating an L shape, he will call out take 2 to the second man, letting him know that he also needs to move on to the next wall. That way points of domination can be created regardless of any obstacles in the way. Simple stuff, right? Cool. So let's run it one more time real quick so we can talk about the secondary assessment. So center step, clear my hard corner, and then move on to the next wall. Scan, 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 and that will stop about a meter from my partner over there, so I don't flag him. Remember, flagging is very bad, big no. So once I'm about a meter from my friend over there, and I see I have no more work, I'm gonna check out. We're taking those doors over there out of play for the time being. So we have no more work. You can see Vinny has already checked up. He's put his gun up. I'm gonna do the same. This indicates that there is no more work, nothing else to worry about. We're all clear, and we're good to proceed to the next room or the next problem. In this case, we'll call next room since these doors are at play. Any questions so far? Questions, comments, concerns? Easy stuff. All right, Shon, Vinny. Vinny, you're going to be the point man. Shon, you're going to be the second man. Let's have you boys run that real quick. Let me close this door for you. All right, stand by. Whenever you're ready. Perfect. Beautiful. Simple. That's SOP for room entry procedures. Very simple. Straightforward, nothing crazy. Okay. So, talking about single closed doors, right? We'll come back to single stack as well. Let's talk about double doors, right? So in these cases, nothing too crazy, right? We'll have to pick a point man first of all. Usually, whoever approaches the threshold first will become the point man. In this case, if we approach both at the same time, the TL can make a call, or one of us will take the initiative and call out, we'll work your door. All right. So in this case, Vinny requests to work his door. He gives me a muzzle punch, indicating, all right, let's work my door. So in this case, we have two things that we can do. The point man can call just swing my door, so we can just decide, we can just pick to work his door only. Vinny can give me the nod whenever he's ready. Or can we just swing his door only? Let me close that for you. Or these doors are not really double, they're just two single doors placed together. So, or there's the other option, another call the point man can make, which is to swing both doors at the same time. Well, unfortunately, these doors will have to be swung one by one, as they're not really double doors, or two single doors. So, Vinny, whenever you're ready, give me the muzzle nod. We'll swing both of these doors at the same time. Obviously, we don't have these capabilities right now. And then from here, we'll come close enough to the threshold and then do an angle exchange or a flip, which we'll come back to more later on. but just so you boys can have an idea. Any questions? Beautiful. All right, let's step outside of this room, please. Back into the hallway, into the next one, which is the corner fed. So over here, if we come into this door, let me get a body. Go ahead, Vinny. So we're going to begin working this as we would. Now, all I see is a wall. This is a corner fed room. Now, as you can see, Vinny has checked up, regardless, because he doesn't know what I see. I don't know what he sees either. So in dynamic, in our SOP, the deployment will always remain deployment unless a shot call has been made and so on, right? But even now that I have no information, I will still become deployment. I will still be deployment in order to maintain momentum. So I don't do this. I don't see a wall. I have no work. This would be correct. But right now we just have 2 guys checked up, and now we're not sure who's going to go in first. All right, so from here, once my second man checks up, I'm still going to make entry, center step, and I'll have the option to either run the rabbit or attack the threat. I'll be rusty there, I know, but one of us runs the rabbit, the other one will attack the threat. Right, there's still a hard corner to be cleared. Let's run that one more time. There you go, like so. Simple shit. Cool. Now from corner fed to corner fed, like so, we got a person behind me, we'll have a single stack. Matter of fact, let's have Vinny and Shon work this. So let's take the step by step first, right? So point man, Vinny in this case, will get the squeeze from his second man, which is Shon. Vinny once he gets the squeeze, he will swing the door, center step, and then he will either run the rabbit or attack the threat, whichever he prefers. Like so. Now, ideally, we don't want to have 2 guys running the rabbit, right? We just want to have 1 guy running the rabbit, the other one will be attacking the threat, but that's okay. Very simple shit. All right, let's do that one more time. Whenever you're ready. Real time. Perfect. Beautiful. Now, Vinny, keep in mind, while you're running the rabbit, you do not want to move past your working wall right here. All right? We don't want to create points of domination in a corner fed like this. Once Shon does the secondary assessment and you're there, you will get flagged. So you want to remain on your hard corner over there for the corner fed rooms. Cool, beautiful. Questions? All right, cool. Follow me, please. Now let's talk about some more complicated room clearing. No need to close the door behind us, that's fine. Let's talk about some dead spaces. So let's start off simple. Starting off with single dead spaces like that one. So, single or parallel dead space, parallel to the wall. So, 2 ways to do this. First up, we have Angleman Corner Boy, and then we have our default method, which is, well, we'll just demonstrate, which is coming up from one side. So, I'll take me and Shon. Shon will work with me. So, me and Shon make entry to this room. Right, we'll take that dead space out of play and that door out of play. Now, we do cross entry, we come up here to this point. So now from here, we get to this sector right here. Now I see Shon has the angle, and I see that he decides to do my corner boy. So I'm going to let him go, and then, just so about when he's about to cross the threshold, he will stop leaning and he'll just go ahead and run the rabbit. Now once he crosses this little threshold right here of the dead space, that's my cue to begin working with him. I don't want to go too early, I don't want to go too late. If I go too early, it's very likely that Shon will flag me. Go ahead, Shon. If I go too early, he will flag me like he just did. If I go too late, Shon will be working on his own for a good amount of time. And that's not really nice. It's harder to hit a moving target, sure, but it's also harder to hit people while you're moving. So I want to move at the same time after he crosses this imaginary line right here. And that's my cue to begin swinging around and attack the hard corner over there. So that will be Angleman Corner Boy, not our default method. We'll talk about our default method in a second. That will be Angleman Corner Boy. So our default method would be from a single stack. So I come up here like this, and then Shon decides that we want to take this a bit more aggressively. So whenever Shon comes up behind me, gives me the squeeze whenever he's ready.
I'm with you.
That's my cue to do a little center step and then run the rabbit right away. And he's going to attack alongside with me, attacking the threat like so. Very simple stuff. Alright, Shon, sorry, Vinny. Let's have you run the second method, the default SOP. Just the 2 of you, whenever you're ready. Beautiful, like so. Alright, and now let's do Angleman Corner Boy. Let's have Shon be the corner boy. Vinny, you'll be the Angleman. All right, nice, not bad. Cool, beautiful. Now the thing about this is just you just want to ensure in case we have more space towards that way. Point man, you do not want to go too wide. Reason for that is if I go very, very wide, Shon, go ahead and pin that corner for me. Now in this case, we have safe angles, but if this was a bit more narrow, if this was more a bit, or there was a wall here, and this was more open, I will have the option to go farther out like this. Now, Shon has pinned that corner very nicely, but mistakes happen because this is a game. We could go farther to the left, so on, and then it just becomes unsafe. We have unsafe angles. I risk flagging or even worse, shooting my teammate. So, you want to be about shoulder to shoulder with your teammate. So right about here. Don't go too wide. Distance and angles is cool, but not used in dynamic for reasons like that. Any questions? Beautiful. Let's talk about parallel dead spaces. Or rather, excuse me, opposing dead spaces. Two dead spaces right across from each other. Vinny, I'll have you here for this one. So, simple stuff, right? This is, again, an angle exchange. We come up here, right? We initiate. Like so. Very simple stuff. Notice how neither of us left our working wall. Because we don't know who the point man is. If we just decide to pick up one in random, well, we won't really know who it is. We'll just have two people in here flagging each other. And if there is a bad guy here in the middle, or there is more work that way, we're just flagging each other while we're looking at it. So we want to avoid that. In dead spaces like this, like these two, we just want to ensure that we both remain on our working walls. Simple stuff. So let's talk about the flip. Let's talk about the flip. It might seem simple, but it's a bit more complicated. So this is a request and receive nonverbal. So I'm not going to do this and then just assume my teammate is going to do the same and then just be part of my French dumbass. All right. This is, again, a request and receive response. Or, sorry, nonverbal. I need to receive a response before we go ahead and do anything. Beautiful. So, pull back, please. Now, what does this look like? This is, I want to exchange angles. Vinny agrees. And then once our guns meet back down, we're moving. We're not going to move earlier. We're not going to move later. Once our guns meet down, we're moving. Another thing that we see a lot is due to the fact that we do not know when we're moving, which is when our guns meet back down. When we're looking straight forward, a lot of people just don't know when to move, and they will wait for the other person to move. Or they will not trust their battle buddy, whichever it is. If we wait for the other person to go first, this will happen. I don't trust him. It's delayed. Now, Vinny, I want you to do the same, please. I want you to wait for me to go first. Right? Because that's best case scenario. Okay? So this could happen, right? We're unsure of when to go. We'll wait for the other person to go first. And we're now in this awkward position. So, first up, in order to initiate the flip, either one of us looks to about a 45-degree angle. The second man or second person responds. And when our guns meet down, at the when we're looking straight forward, we're moving. Simple stuff. Whole lot of yap, but even the simple stuff sometimes can get confused. Any questions? All right, Shon, Vinny, let's have you boys run this real quick. Let me see your flip. Good, not bad. All right, let's do that one more time. And Vinny, let me see your positioning. Now, Vinny, you see how you're about offset from this wall while Shon is hugging it? The reason for that is that Shon is also trying to clear your hard corner. He's trying to look as deep as he can into the hard corner to clear, as much as he can for you. You need to do the same for him, right? You need to be pretty much right across at the same point as he is. You need to be mirroring each other, right? Because if you're farther away, if you're on a different angle, you can move at a slower pace, and he could be exposed to the angle that you're supposed to be taking over. So that's why we also call flip at the edge of dead spaces. That way, after you flip, you guys played each other perfectly. So let's do that one more time. Perfect, perfect, beautiful. Questions, concerns? All right, simple stuff. And then there's the other way, right? Vinny, let me have you here as my point man. From the single stack, if we're coming up from here, just stand here and look into the hard corner. So the other way, right? If we're coming up on a dead space like this from one side and we don't want to just pan across, we feel like we just can keep moving as fast as we can, I can go ahead, give Vinny the squeeze.
On your 6.
Center step, he's going to take his closest threat. I'm going to take the one farthest away from him. So priority of threats, remember, as we talked about in the beginning of the rule of proximity, you want to take the threat closest to you, right? So in this case, let's pull back a bit, Vinny. In this case, for Vinny, that will be the threat onto the left. Now the thread to the left, while it is the one also closest to me, it's already being worked. And when we talk about 1 gun per thread, we do not need to risk more guns than necessary, or rather waste more guns than necessary on problems that can be worked or held by one person. So in this case,
I got you.
let's do that one more time. Very simple. Fast, dynamic, efficient. Make sense? Questions? Cool. And Vic, I know you're observing, but if you have any questions, feel free to speak up and we'll explain. All right. If not anything, please follow me, gentlemen. Move on to the next problems. All right. Let's start simple. Let's start off with the offset dead space. Now, in this instance, right, we'll come up from this side. So, Vinny, I want you to go ahead and actually I'll take point for this one. So I want you to do the slower method for me. So now we have this little problem right here. Now what Vinny can do is he can just decide to just go ahead and pan across onto the other dead space. Go ahead, Vinny, whenever you're ready. As you can see, he's panning across, nice and fast, nothing too slow. Now, Vinny, what do you see? No need to tell me, no need to tell me, no need to tell me, show me. How do you tell me without telling me that you see nothing? There you go. So he checks up, he has no work. That's him telling me there's nothing over there or there's nothing to worry about. And in this case, there's absolutely nothing there. By him checking up, he's telling me there is nothing there. Absolutely nothing. Now, either Vic or Vinny. Vic, if you're not able to talk, that's fine. But Vinny, if there was something there, how would you tell me? How would you let me know that there's actually something there that we need to work? There you go. Beautiful. No need to go, no need to go. That's fine. Pull back. Exactly. If there was something over there, we do a flip. But in this case, that's unnecessary. There is nothing. He has his gun up. I'm going to trust my teammate. I'm going to trust him telling me, hey, there's absolutely nothing there. Cool. In this case, we also know that our next problem is that one over there. So what are we going to do? We're just going to work it like a single or parallel dead space. I'm going to come up here a little bit closer, so there is no risk of me flagging my teammate, and then I'm just going to go ahead and run this rabbit, and then he's going to attack with me. Like so, pinning that corner. Very simple stuff. In real time, it will look like this. So Vinny, pull back to my side if you could. Whenever you're ready.
En route.
Alright, cool. Questions? Alright. Beautiful. Let's have you boys pulled back. Now, the other faster method is, well, I'm not sure if you boys remember, so I'll just demonstrate. Vinny, if you could come up behind me. Now, if you just do not really want to go ahead and pan across, right, we'll do the same principle of proximity. We'll take the thread closest to us. So, in this case, whenever Vinny's ready, he's going to come up behind me, give me the squeeze.
On my way.
I'll do a little center step, clear this, and then I have no work. I'm just going to go ahead and find work. So, let's do that a bit slower, right? Now, I clear this. I have no work. So I check up and looking around, and I'm looking for work right now. Look, my gun is up. I'm looking for work. Sorry, my gun is down in this case. I'm looking for work. In this case, I see my teammate is going to run the rabbit by default in order to plate me. He has no other option to plate me effectively. Now, he will run the rabbit, as usually we're working with more people, so and also a third man could come in and assist Vinny if I don't, like Shon. But in this case, since nobody came in earlier, right, which will happen sometimes, I'll turn around and see I have no work. I have no work. I will see that my teammate is needing assistance. I will come up in here and assist. So in real time, that will look like this. Vinny.
En route.
Like so. Simple. Alright, questions? In offset dead spaces, while we do prefer to move fast, in an offset dead space like this, due to the fact that, you know, angles could be weird, and we can have more threats down that way, we prefer to do the pan across method. Take this a little bit more slow. But still, panning across is still pretty dynamic. It's nothing to worry about. Anything you boys want to go over again so far? Everything makes sense? Vinny? Cool. Alright, so let's talk about these little bad boys right here. Matter of fact, let's do it from the other side so we have some more space. And let's let me close that door. That will be out of play. Vinny, you there? Alright.
Give me a minute.
You're good. Cool. So, it's going to be me and Shon for this one. So we have multiple dead spaces like this, right? Now, Usually, most of the time, what's going to happen in a case like this, we'll have a corner boy or an extra body with us. In this case, I'll be the angleman. Shon will be the corner boy. Now, when I have right now I have too much work. Right now, I have too much work on my plate. I'm exposed to multiple threats. If I decide to go ahead and do this, I'm exposed to that threat. Shon will definitely come in and help me. By the time he does that, I will have already been shot by that angle, or rather from that angle. So in this case, I can give Shon a nonverbal to let him know, hey, I have too much work and I need some assistance. Pulling the corner boy in, as we call it. So how do we do that? With a muzzle nod, which again indicates I'm ready to work on the next step on the current problem. So Shon, remember, that door is out of play for the time being. No need to worry about it. So from here, I'm just going to give Shon a muzzle nod, and he's going to take the threat closest to him. So whenever I give him the muzzle nod. Once he does that, once I see him moving, I don't have to worry about that problem anymore. I can worry about the next problem. Right? Since that's already being worked, we don't need to have two guns on that. Once he starts moving, I will immediately transition to the threat over there. So, and do this. And I can also decide to run the rabbit. If Shon has no work, he can also come out here and assist me in clearing this. Or if he has something, he will hold it and wait for me to clear this and then come back and assist him in whatever he's doing. Okay, so again, one more time. There you go. Cool. Good to know that ideally, if there's no work here, you don't just want to go, because I might have to stop here for XYZ reason. I might have to stop here, take a shot before I expose myself any further, right? So it's always a good idea to stop, take a second, look behind you, see where your angleman is at, and then, you know, I can just go ahead and run the rabbit. Or I'm going to just continue going the whole way out here. Really just depends on the scenario, nothing is given. Now, one thing that a lot of people do wrong is thinking that this is a flip, or that you need to give a muzzle nod back due to different SOPs, due to different, you know, environments. Not necessarily wrong, but in our scenario, in the context of MSRT, if Shon decides to give me a muzzle nod back, I might think that's a flip. I might think he's pulling me, we're flipping, and then we're trying to exchange angles, and then this will happen, right? Because if he has his gun online, gun online, go ahead, Shon. That's him telling me I'm looking at something. I don't have to look over there. What are you looking at? There's nothing. I will trust him. If he has his gun online, that's him telling me I see something that you might be exposed to. And then my reaction will probably be to flip and exchange angles. In this case, he's looking at absolutely nothing. So there is no reason for him to get his gun online, right? Just be, you know, giving me the wrong body language. So from here, I just pull him in. Moves, I take the next problem. Like so. Simple. Questions? Anybody? Makes sense? Beautiful. Follow me, please. Let's move on to our anchored and unanchored problems. So let's start off with this one. So, we don't have any recruits, unfortunately. So, oh, Vinny, go ahead. Please do enlighten us. How would you work a problem like this? No need to check it. You wouldn't go that far, right? Just without, just let us know. Tell us if you cannot talk.
Oh, by words. So in this situation, given that I don't know if the dead space connects behind the wall, I would tell both sides to approach, then one side holds and the other clears to make sure that we do not flag each other.
Okay. Now let me ask you another question. What would be the difference if it's an anchored or unanchored dead space? Does anything change, or?
If it's an anchored dead space, it means that there's a wall connecting, splitting the dead space in the middle behind of it, but we cannot see it. If it's an anchored, that just means it's a wall that is impeding our view further down into the room, but does not have any objects blocking further past it.
Kind of, right? So the reason why I'm asking is because you said you don't know if it's anchored or unanchored. The thing is, it won't change ever. You will never know if it's anchored or unanchored unless you have, I don't know, wall hacks. So you'll always just have one side hold and the other work. The reason why we're now working both sides at the same time is very simply due to crossfire. There's a guy in the middle, you're just going to shoot your teammate. You're the bad guy too, and then your teammate. So, or your teammate will shoot you first, yada, yada, yada. So we always just decide to work one side and hold the other. Now, one of you point out to me which side will always work by default. Use your flashlight or your laser. The right side. Beauty, exactly. Reason for that is Shon unfortunately cannot talk, but what he wants to say is we'll always work the right side because our gun is, as you can see, pointing that out, is on the right shoulder, not on the left shoulder. Our gun will be on the right shoulder, at least ready or not. So, that being said, left side by default will hold, right side will work. Obviously, there will be exceptions to this just because it's our default method doesn't mean it's SOP, it's standard. It can always be left side instead of right side. So, Vinny, let's go ahead and demonstrate. Now, let's go ahead and come up here. Right, we're not going to approach too close, right, again, because hot walls exist. So, and then from here, we make a hold and work call. Hold left, work right, or just work right, doesn't matter. So, work right, or working right. Now, in this instance, I do this. What is Vinny going to do? Exactly. There you go. Simple. Now, without me telling him anything, and this is Vinny, this is your first time in the shootouts, correct?
That's correct.
Yeah, so he doesn't know what's going on. By me telling him nothing, I just come up here with my gun down and over here. I'm telling him there's nothing that way. Let's work your side. Cool. And now he sees, oh look, there's a wall here. That's why. That's why we're here. So if I come up here, I clear this, just run the rabbit a little bit. I see there is nothing. If I come up here with my gun down, indicating that I have no work, I will become his corner boy, letting him know, like, hey, let's work this side. Cool. Simple. Questions? No, simple. Alright, let's do the one behind us as well. Taking any further threats that away, out of play, just worry about the still unanchored dead space. Now, let's work right. I need one body. Don't matter who. Ideally, Venice issue verbal. So, from here, I'll work right. I'll come up here. Now, this one is not anchored. Alright? Now, there's two things that we can do. I can either just, as soon as this is clear, just go back out, or go that way and risk getting shot or flagged by my teammate, or rather flagged and worse shot by my teammate. So if we were actually in a mission, I would not be able to see the names of my teammates because we keep them off. So Vinny doesn't know, I don't know where Vinny's at. I'm not really sure if this leads onto the same exact angle that Vinny's looking at. This is where we bring in the deconfliction, or decon for short. So when we're in a situation like this, the person who's working towards the holding team, in this case myself, I will call out possible decon, and then I will shine my flashlight a couple of times. I'll wait for a response. In this case, Vinny has his laser. There you go. Ideally, you want to use a flashlight, I was about to say. So I will flash my flashlight. Vinny will do the same. There you go. And now from here, I know that we're both the same person. If we also want to, we'll call light scene, or something like that, or scene. Ideally, light scene. That way I know that Vinny also is looking at the same thing as I am, and not just some random bad guy with a flashlight. So once we see each other's light, the working team will come up on the holding team, and then we'll call blue scene, and then put our guns up or down, don't matter. So in real time, it will look like this without the gap. All right, working right. Possible decon.
Light scene.
Coming up to you. Blue scene.
Blue scene.
There you go. Easy stuff. Exactly. So in situations like this one, if we take this into play, where we have threats further down, we're not going to waste too much time on the visual link because we don't want to turn our backs on any problems, unless I have Shon with me, which could plate me. But in this case, let's take Shon out of play. In this case, I would just possible decon. Cool. And then I would just swap over to the next problem. And Vinny can also come up here, and there you go. Like, just worry about the next problem. Vinny, if we're both looking at the same angle, can probably see that there's more work that way. So, or even if he doesn't, I could just tell him, hey Vinny, push up a little bit, you know, disregard decon, we need to work further down. Comments or concerns? Alright, beautiful. Now, in this case, alright, we'll do the same, working right. Now, this is what we call a floating T. Now, in this case, this is a larger dead space, right? And now, if I decide to work this on my own, now Vinny doesn't see me, I don't see Vinny, I could easily get shot, killed, or whatever, and Vinny will not know, and I only have to worry about his angle and the angle behind him if I go down. So in a case like this, when I don't have a third man, in this case I have Shon, so Shon can be the mediator between me and the holding team. But in this case, let's say we're working with just two people. So in this case, I can take Vinny on me. Vinny, without dropping security, will just come towards me from a place where he can still see me. Misclick, don't worry. I know. So then from here, Vinny can still maintain visual link on me, and I can begin working this. I will obviously take this a bit slower. Vini will still not drop his angle. He'll still maintain security. I will go a bit slower and a bit farther to ensure that Vini can see me. I will clear this off, and then from here, possible decon. Cool. Coming up to you. Blue scene. Easy. Right? And Vini, if you could come back here. We're going to work right. Let's bring in the third man. In this case, Shon. So Shon, if we call working right, Shon will be with me regardless. And now you will see this is a wider barricade. Now he will be the one making sure that Vini is also good, and so I am, right? And I am as well. Now either whether he wants to do that by going back and forth and checking, or just by keeping his head cam on, don't matter. It can be a lot of things. But in this case, since Vini has not collapsed his angle. Alright, let's see. I can clear this problem right here, and then there you go. I can also see my friend over there. If you'd ask me personally, I prefer the you on me method. That way we can also reduce our signature a little bit and avoid overextending from one another, but it's all depending on the situation. Any questions? Comments? Concerns? Are we good to move on to hallways? Oh yeah, this is called a floating T. Because if you look from above, it looks like a T shape. And it's not anchored to anything. Yes, I will be floating T. Yep. Okay, any other questions, fellas? Vinny? Shon? Vinny? Let's talk hallways. Excuse me. Alright, follow me, please. Now, hallways, dangerous. One of the most dangerous spots to be in, as they are long fatal funnels. You see this? Anybody can go down to that open threshold and just engage the three of us, and we'll not be able to return effective fire, and we have pretty much no cover. We don't want to be here at all for whatever reason, and if we are going to be here, we want to stay in here for as little time as possible. So that's the core principle of working hallways in our SOPs and in Dynamic, to spend as little time as possible in them. 1 second, please. Excuse me. Alright, my apologies. So, in a hallway, in order to make that principle alive, or just make it happen, we will clear the first threat we encounter, regardless if it's a closed or an open door. Threat priority goes out the window, unless those two threats are way too close to one another. If we have a closed door and an open door right next to each other, we'll pick the open door. But usually that won't be the case. We'll just have the first problem that we encounter, we'll work that. So whatever kind of problem we're working, we'll always have at least one person looking down into the hallway, providing coverage or security. Now, let's talk about movement in the hallway. We have two formations. Number one, we have cross coverage. Vinny, if you would be so kind. One Marine on each side of the hallway. Cross coverage basically. There you go. He's looking right, I'm looking left. Simple. Follow me. No need to do the information, just follow me. And then we have the third formation, which is the rolling T, which requires 3 people. So 2 guys in cross coverage, one looking right, one looking left. Right, and then one guy in the middle looking 12. Usually used for push shapes like this one or very wide hallways. Alright, well we just might need one more gun looking 12. But these are our 2 formations. By default, we'll use cross coverage, and if needed, we'll have the rolling T. Usually, will not have to be called out, as people can see what we're looking at in front, but sometimes, well, you might be forgotten, you might have to call rolling T up. Alright, cool. So let's talk about working problems like this. Alright, so let's get back a little bit, get into information, let's go into cross coverage, and let's approach the first problem of the hallway. Alright, now we have come across this door right here. Now, who is the person closest to this door? That would be Vinny. So, whoever is closest to the first threat we encounter, in this case the closed door, and in this case the closest person being to that door, being Vinny, he will become the point man, and he will turn and look to the door, indicating that I'm about to start working this door. Even if you could also turn your laser on, that'd be nice, thank you. So, now the person farthest away from the door, in this case being me, will be responsible for hallway security. Now, the thing is, if Vinny decides that he wants to start working that door while I'm here, once the door swings open, I'm going to be exposed to the room. There you go. Not nice. I don't want to be here. Vinny's not able to protect me. I already have plenty of work, so I cannot worry about... Excuse me. I don't want to have to worry about this. Don't make entry just yet. I don't want to have to worry about multiple angles. So, before they even decide to start work, before they even decide that they want to begin working that door, I want to collapse right here next to them. This is called near side security. Let me use the debug camera so they can see what I'm talking about. This is called near side security. Minimal signature, just looking nice like this. Pretty much putting my forearm on my appointment's shoulder or back, however you want to call it. And I'm here providing hallway security while the rest of the team is stacked up behind the appointment, ready to make entry. Simple stuff. Now, there is also the other option. In a closed door like this, the person farthest away from the door has the option to bump the door. This will also, however, happen before we even break down this formation. So, Vinny, getting cross coverage with me? And let's go ahead and begin working this door, whatever, right? Now, before he even swaps over to the door, I'm going to move up here across. And now, as you can see, Vinny panned across onto the other side. The reason why he did that is because I want to have somebody plating me, right? I decided to bump this door in order to provide better hallway coverage. And that's fine. That's still SLP for closed doors, but I don't want to be working with my back exposed to that rope. So therefore, the appointment, the first person who was on that door, will pan across, and the man behind him will take up position on the other side, and it will get a split stack going. Simple stuff. All right, let's pull back into a single stack. And let's use our default method. Vini, I'll have you take point for this one. Sean, you can pull back. Thank you. All right. So we have broken down. Get back, stack up on the door. Single stack. Cool. Now we're here, right? Now Vinny, whenever he's going to start working, he's going to get the squeeze from his second man. He's going to begin working this door. Let's have you boys just run it real quick in real time, and we'll talk about that in a second. Oh, pull back, cowboy. What happened to our pregnant pause, our sending checks, our everything? All right, one more time. Cool. Now, let's have you boys pull back. So as you can see, or as you can see from my POV as much as you could, the appointment, it will do a center step and then make entry. Ideally, in single stacks, you want to button hook into the room, right? As you have no information on that side. Let me open the door for you, get your gun online for me real quick. Vinny has more information on the right side than he does on the left side. Usually, in a single stack like this, you want to leave the path of least resistance to your second man, right? Unless Vinny sees movement on the right side and believes it's more important to look that way, in which case, of course, he will just move across. However, by default, we want to go until the greater unknown, which in this case is the left side of the room. Cool. All right, Sean. Let's see. Let's have you be the blocker for this case. And you can just go into a single stack. There you go. Yeah, thank you. All right, Vinny, whenever you're ready, begin working that door on your own. Cool. Now, stop. As you can see, as you are. Sean, keep looking that way. Keep pulling security. Now, Sean, while Vinny was doing the center step, moved across at the same time as him. They were essentially plating each other. Sean will move up past the door, just about 2 or 3 steps from the threshold. Reason for that is, first up, you don't want to be right next to the door, otherwise you will block his teammate from making entry. And number 2, you don't want to be too far away because Sean eventually will collapse into this room. He will consolidate. He will hear a last man and will go back inside the room. The farther away he is, the longer it will take, the more he's stuck in the hallway in an awful fatal funnel that you do not want to be in. Therefore, he will collapse back in, maintaining rear security. Very simple. All right, pull back, gentlemen. Maybe if you could close the door as well. So, the guy holding the hallway, get back in the Vinny stack up on the door. Sean take the hallway. So Sean, in this case, is called the blocker. Reason for that is because while we work this, when Sean moves across onto the other side, no need to move yet. When Sean moves onto the other side, he will be plating me, the second man, from the hallway, also preventing me, blocking me from going past this door. All right.
On you.
Last man. As you can see, Sean consolidates inside the room, scans from easy corner to easy corner for 1 second, and then swaps back to rear security. The reason why he does that is to ensure that there are no immediate threats and need to be shot. There are no bad guys that need shooting. You don't want to get just, see a bad guy. Okay, cool. Just turn your back on him. Right? So you will scan for a bit. If there are no bad guys, cool. You will swap back and get on rear security. If there are any bad guys, you will engage. You will do what he has to, and then swap back to rear security, ensuring that we are covered while we are working. Simple. Any questions? The split stack is very simple. Just work a split stack. Whenever the last person makes entry, call last man for the blocker, and he will consolidate in the room. All right. Let's do that one more time. Let's swap roles. Shon, you will be point man. Vini, you will be the blocker. Now, Vini, you want to be right next to Shon. You want to be, again, you want to imagine your forearm on his back in a way. And then also use lean. There you go. Lean away from his body. Away from him. Not close to him. Away. There you go. Now, also notice how Vini, while Shon is moving, will not move in a straight line to move across onto the other side of the door. He'll move in a U shape, kind of, to avoid flagging the point man. He will demonstrate.
Got your 6.
Last man. There you go, like so. Cool, questions? Alright, simple stuff, right? Anything else you boys would like to go over one more time so far? Everything makes sense? Beauty, beauty, beauty. 2 seconds, please. Alright, now let's talk about different hallway shapes. Alright. Yeah, follow me. Let's make this as accurate as possible. So, this little shape right here, taking everything behind us out of play. This is an L shape, right? Very common, very simple. How this has worked is simply through angle and corner boy. Whoever has the angle in this instance, we will take out the SOP for as close to 6 a problem, because these hallways are far more dangerous than just rooms, and there can easily be a bad guy over here waiting to snatch Shon's weapon. We don't want that, so we'll do angle and corner boy for this one. From here, just before I cross this threshold of the dead space, or rather the hallway, however you want to call it, I will not lean anymore, that way I can move as fast as possible. This is in the context of ready or not. I will run the rabbit. Once I have crossed past, Shon will also swing wide, and he will just basically attack the threat. Like so. This is a much tighter hallway than usual, but as you can see, Shon still maintained discipline, did not overextend, and I also closed the distance a little bit to ensure that I'm not going to be flagging him. I don't want to be here, risk flagging the poor man. So I came up here to ensure that I'm not flagging him. Situational awareness is crucial. Very simple. One more time. Like so. Alright, Shon, pull back a bit. Notice how Shon, look at Shon's body language. He's not looking at a wall. He doesn't have his gun up. And he's basically just looking at me. There is a peripheral vision. Right? That way, I feel much safer. I feel that my corner boy is looking at me and he's paying attention. Shon, do me a favor and look at that wall over there. With your gun down, it's okay. Just look at that wall, directly at that wall. Now, I feel that Shon is doing absolutely nothing useful. He's not looking at me. He doesn't know exactly when I'll move, and he'll probably move too early or too late. I don't trust him. I feel like he's incompetent to be here. So, but Shon will be looking at me, as Shon would do by default. He will be looking at me. That's him he's letting me know that I have his full undivided attention, and that whatever I do, he will assess me. Like so. Jesus Christ, that was fast. Alright. Make sense? Any questions? Beauty. Alright, follow me. Now, T-shape. Or T-shapes. T-shaped hallways. Now, one way to go about these, I'm going to have Shon here, that's perfect. So from here, by default, we'll be in cross coverage, right? There's no need for a rolling T or anything else. Cross coverage. Now from here, as we approach, if there has not, if a flow call has not been made or a work call, what we'll do is an angle exchange, and we'll just go ahead and pin those corners, like so. Very simple stuff. We'll pin the corners and hold, wait for our next decision. Now, pull back a bit. If, for example, Vini, who is the first man without work, comes up and tells us, "Hey, we're working left." Sorry, let's do right for this instance. We're working right. After we flip, Shon will plug the left, and I will go ahead and run the rabbit on the right side, giving space for a second man to come in. It will look kind of like this. Like so. Shon is plugging the hallway. Me and Vini are in cross coverage, ready to move on to the next problem, and then we call last man. Shon consolidates while holding rear security, like so. In this case, well, yeah, we'd need a third man, right? But we don't have them, as we'd be working with 4 people minimum. Cool. Simple. Alright, 2 ways to go about T-shapes. By default, we pin the corners, unless we have a flow call that has been made already, which is not that uncommon, can still happen. In that case, we plug the way we're not going and have the rest of the team move the way that we are working. All right, cool. Now we have the plus shapes, or cross-shaped hallways, whichever you want to call them. In this case, it would be a rolling T. So we have 2 people in cross coverage and then 1 more person in the middle holding our 12. So again, by default, if no work call or flow call has been made, we flip and pin the corners. Like so. Not as wide as I want, a little bit tighter. There you go. Now, Vinny, that's a mistake. You're exposing yourself to this hallway for no reason. If this door was open or if that hallway extended further to the left, you would be exposed. So only just the 2 guys in cross coverage will flip. You can still hold 12 from where you're standing. Cool. Alright, let's pull back a bit. Now let's say the controller comes in, makes the call, or TL, don't matter. Somebody comes in, makes a call, flow west. Now we'll plug whichever way we're not going, and the rest of the team will flow the way that we are going. So in this case, if we decide to flow west or flow across, me and Shon will plug left and right, and Vinny will flow across. And then he will call last man, or the last person, whoever the last person is, will call last man, or last Marines.
You got point.
And we will both consolidate, like so. And we'll continue moving. Simple. Questions, comments, concerns. Good shit, right? Alright. Beautiful. In which case, if you would be so kind to follow me. Let's talk a bit more about advanced clearance. Now, I will need a corner boy there. Ideally Vinny, since he's verbal. Let me go ahead and close the door behind you. Actually, matter of fact, Shon, could you hold your security on the door right here? Alright. So, take this dead space and that door out of play for the time being. We'll only worry about the door that I'm standing here on, the door that Shon is holding security on, and the dead space that Vinny is right next to. So, in this case right here, there is 2 ways to go about things. So this is a closed door. I can go ahead and request priority as I'm looking at an open threshold. I'm looking at dead space, and if we remember our priority of threats, that's a bigger threat. So I can also just request Vinny to check his gun up. I can safely just cross this door. He can take up the door after I cross his muzzle, and I can work this on my own. And there you go. Simple stuff. Cool. Pull back, Vinny. I appreciate you going to hold from the hand on the side. Now, what happens if this door is open? Right? We come over here to the situation. Right? Now, there's 3 options, right? I'm going to have just hypothetical to the viewer, I guess. So, in this case, it will have to be a flip. Necessarily, there's no way I can bump this open door without getting myself killed, or just without being a pardon my French dumbass. This will have to be a flip. Now I have 3 options. Option number 1, make entry to the room on my own. Option number 2, move across onto the other side and hold from the right side, just pen across. And number 3, plug the door. Since I'm on my own as of now, I would pick option C, which is to plug the door. So me and Vinny are going to flip. I'm going to go ahead and plug this door. The reason for that is I want to ensure that Shon is being plated and also Vinny is being covered while he's working that. So I'm going to plug right here, make sure that I'm covering my teammates on the left and on the right. Now Vinny comes in, gives me the squeeze. Like he just did, I can go ahead and begin working this door. No need. Alright, simple. Now, Shon, let me have you back here with me. And pretend that we still have another person holding rear security. Now I have 1 extra additional body with me. Now in this case, I'm going to risk my life by plugging this door. I can go ahead and pan across and get cross coverage with my friend behind me. So me and Vinny are going to flip. I'm just going to go ahead and pan across. Now, well, Shon sees a wall. He doesn't really have to hold much, right? But he's still there plating anybody who's holding security. So, and now there you go. Now we have 3 people. We can begin working this room safely.
En route.
Now, let me get back here. Vinny, I'm going to need you over here with us this time. And let's still pretend somebody's holding rear security and somebody's over there that I'm going to flip with. Now I have 2 people with me. I have the minimum required bodies to work a room, which is 3. Now from here, I'm going to go ahead and flip with this person. And now, since I have the additional bodies that I need, I can just go ahead and make entry. There you go. Alright, now, Vinny, can you point out the mistake here in this entry? In this room entry? Alright, let's try that one more time. Right back out. Same order as we came in, so Shon will be my second man.
You got point.
Now, Shon, Vinny, has too much work, right? There's that side, and needs to worry about. And then there's also this open door. One of our principles is that you're constantly looking for work. And right now you have your gun up. Not ideal, right? Now what you can do, Vinny, since we also use a rule of proximity, there is no way in hell that I am going to try going wide over here, try to get an angle on that problem that Shon owns as he's closest, right? So, Vinny, right now you should be looking for work. You should be planing Shon, basically. How would you do that? By coming up here to this door, planing him, or either even just plugging it. And in this case, I can come up here, right? Shon will have to worry about that, and there you go. We can just have my gun down. That means we just go ahead and take it, right? Vinny. There you go. Short. Right, remember to call short as well. All right, and now from here, there you go. We have the people to continue working. So again, initiative, right? And looking for work, planning your teammates. Your priority of work, protecting, assessing, adapting to teammates, making sure that whatever they do, they are being plated. Now you may ask, okay, well, sorry, Shon, if you could give me some space. You may tell me, sorry, yeah, thank you. So you may ask, okay, well, but Shon is not really exposed from that dead space over there, and you have a guy over there, right? Yeah, sure. But I can't stay like here like this forever. We'll have to move eventually, all right? And the other person, since he knows, in this case being me, I know that I have people behind me that have no work and are looking for it. I know somebody will plate me. I need to make sure that my gun is right here, so nobody just turns around this corner and puts a bullet, you know, through my skull. So, right from here, I'll just take the initiative without even flipping. I'll just look over here. I'll expect the people behind me to plate me, right? To ensure that they are people with me. I have bodies. We're not just going to stand there looking all pretty, are we? We're just going to head and find work. Make sense? Any questions? Easy. Okay. Now, in this case, excuse me. Oh yeah, this is it right here. This is it right here. This is them all. Alright. So, Vinny, I'm going to need you here. This one. I want to work this with 3 people. I'm going to be the point man. Alright. Now, Vinny, right? See where you're at, right? Stop right there. Freeze. Now, Vinny, you are basically nowhere helpful, right? You are somewhere where you cannot assist me or cover me while I have all this work. Like if we have that open door, we have this open door right here, and I am exposed, right? I have too much work. Remember, so we do zipper entry whenever, right? So if I go east, Shon goes west, then you go east, right? Basically, right? You won't know where most of the work is, but if there's more work this way where I'm at, I'll be exposed to it for longer than Shon will be. So you will need to go where I went, right? Point man goes left, second man goes right, third man goes left. Zipper entry. Make sense? So that way you're also just playing your teammates, right? Shon already has too much work. He already has a little dead space. He already has that. There's that open door. There's this. You will need to come in, Vinny, and help us both out. Just by plating us. And then we just probably decide to work the west side, as that seems to be more simple. Questions? Everything make sense so far? Alright.
Yeah.
Beauty. Just 1 second, please. Cool. Alright. Let's see. Where do I have it? Might be here. Excuse me. I'm not really sure. Nope. Sorry. Other way. Excuse me. My bad. Okay. Stay here. New layout. Not used to it just yet. Alright. So it's on the east side. If you both can move on the east side. Looking for just 2 doors. There you go. There you have it. Alright. Somebody close the right side door for me, please. Alright. Now, we come up in a situation like this. This room is all clear. We came from the west side. All good. We don't have to worry about that for the time being. If all of you would look to the east, you'll see we have what appears to be a hallway and a door across. So, where's a safer place to be in right now? The room across. We don't want to be in the hallway. Here, let me make this a bit more interesting. So even then, right, we want to, even though the hallway is closer to us, we still want to go into that room. It's safer to go into that room than be out into this hallway, right? We want to avoid that whenever possible. So, in this case, how do we do that? With the flow across call. In this situation, we just call flow across, and then everybody will just flow across. However, since this is a hallway, and it has 2 avenues, we need to ensure that we plug both avenues. We need to plug both north and south in this case. So, I come up in here, I'm the first man without work. I flow across. We need to have fun. The first two will plug the hallway. Go ahead, Vinny. You have point. First two will plug the hallway, and now let me stop right here. Hold on. Yeah, okay, that's a good point. Sean, just pretend there's a hallway there. Pretend there's actually something there instead of nothing. So, in this case, right, these two will plug the hallway, ensuring that the rest of the team, which would not be just me, would probably be a couple more people, can safely cross this passage, however you want to call it, this catwalk, whatever, safely cross into their room without taking any fire from the hallway. Or if we do take up any fire, these guys will be responsible for taking care of it. Now, I'm also responsible for making sure that these guys are not exposed from this room, or to this room rather, for too long. I need to make sure that I'm right behind their butts and make entry as fast as possible. So, let's do that one more time in real time. Alright, Vinny, you're on point again. Alright, flow across, flow across, flow across. Last Marines. Now, obviously, I would have more people working with me, but, well, in this case, we don't. Just 3-man CQB. So, there you go. First two plug the hallway, and then the rest of the team flows across into the other room, and we begin working this side. And if we have to go back into the hallway later on, we'll figure it out, but for the time being, not necessary. Any questions? Any concerns? Anything you guys want to go over? Who is the last in this moment? You have two guys holding at the same time. Pretty much both of you will collapse at the same time. Whoever gets to the door first, or whoever turns around first, I will just give the other guy the squeeze. I just let him know to collapse. Both of you will consolidate, right? If you are talking about the two in the hallway, right? Yeah, right. So, usually there's no specific order, right? You just call both of you, last minute you call out their names, or you just give both a squeeze, right? They both collapse. Whoever collapses first goes inside first and gives the other guy a squeeze. Or if the, yeah, for sure, right? From the times that it's happened, usually it will be the guy with less work. Now, how do you know who has less work? Well, you would probably know if you're looking at a closed door, right? And so on. But again, it's not always going to be standard. It's always going to be different. But you're very unlikely to get stuck in this door. No matter how many times we do it, each of both of you will flow in smoothly, right? So, but again, just a matter of team cohesion and making sure that everybody's on the same page. No standard for that. It's always going to be different. But from what I've seen, nobody really gets stuck here, right? Because everybody's professional. It's not like, oh, I'm going first. No, I'm going first. No, I'm going first. Mine. All right. Any other questions? Any concerns? Anything at all, fellas? All right. We're going to do something that sucks, especially with just 3-man. Follow me. We're going to simulate that we have cleared the entire shoothouse, which we basically did. We're just going to go for exfil. We're heading out of the AO. We're just going to go back home. If you do not know where the exit is, it's somewhere to the southwest. I will give call outs. So, again, boys, simulating crossing yellow space and heading back out. Vinny, whenever you're ready, take us off. We're flowing south. Last
On you.
Flowing west, flowing west, flowing west.
On my way.
Flowing west.
I'm with you.
Last Marines, both of you. Flowing south, flowing south. Plug left.
Falling in.
Beautiful. There you go. Good shit. Nice. There you go. That was sexy. All right. Questions? All right. Everything makes sense? Just a matter of getting your reps and getting used to the whole thing. All right. I hope you guys enjoy this refresher. I hope you got your knowledge back. It doesn't really seem like you missed much, but, well, good shit.